priorities are. If you don't put your priorities first, nothing good is going to happen for you. Now, we've all had all types of excuses over the years. I've used them. I think we've all used excuses. And there's 5 specific excuses that I hear all the time. Different places that I speak, when I'm training with different people, working with different people. First one, what do you think it is? Time. I don't have enough time. Well, is anybody going to give you time? No, nobody's going to give you time. How much time do they say is the average that everybody should be active on a daily basis? An hour? They say 30 minutes. They don't say how intense, and we're going to get to that in a little bit. But if every single one of you in here today that had that time excuse gave yourselves 30 minutes every day, even if you have to split it up and go 15 in the morning, 15 later on in the afternoon, 30 minutes, 5 days a week, at the end of the year, that's going to be 130 hours of activity. Do you think that's going to help your health and fitness? Let's try that again. Do you think that's going to help your health and fitness? All right, so time excuse is gone. What's the next one? What's the next one? Huh? Money? That's a good one. I hear that one too, but that wasn't one of them. But let's talk about money. How hard is it to go for a walk or go for a jog or go for a ride? How expensive is it? You can do little circuits in your house. You can set up little things. You don't need to be in a gym. You don't need expensive equipment. Things are, there's tons of resources on the internet all over the place, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on to get rid of that excuse. So the money excuse is gone. Now, as I'm watching these kids here, I've got 2 kids. I've got 2 girls, 2.5 and 5 years, and well, she's going to be 4 actually next week. And I get the excuse of, well, I don't get a break from the kids. Now, I do a lot of my, if I'm not in the gym, if I'm not traveling, I'm doing a lot of work in the computer at home. If my kids are home, when they come downstairs into the office, what are the chances of you getting anything done when your kids are there? So here's what we do. We go to a park. We used to load them in the stroller, but then we figured out that was a waste of time because everyone who has kids knows that when you go out anywhere and you have 1 or more kids, you put them in a stroller, what do you end up doing? You end up carrying your kids and pushing the stroller. So now, we'll walk. So we'll walk to the park, and in our neighborhood there's a lot of hills and things like that. And when you're at the park, don't be like some of the parents that I see. They go to the park, and as their kids are playing, they're like this. And I was taking it that some of you who are laughing are some of these parents. Play with your kids. Use it as an opportunity as family time. What do kids like to do? They like to run, they like to jump, they like to climb. Sure, if you put an iPad or something in front of them, they're going to play with that all day too. But if you get them out to a park, they'll run around, they'll play in the playground. That's your chance for activity. Run, chase them. They'll do what you're going to do. Okay? So it adds extra time, activity time to you, builds more quality time for you and your kids, plus you get to get out and get some fresh air. So that excuse is gone. Correct? What's another one? What's another big excuse? Who made New Year's resolutions this year? Hands up. Get them up high. I didn't ask you what they were. Okay, now they'll go up. So, are you still following them? So one thing I get is I start working out or start getting in shape, start getting healthy, and then I stop. Well, New Year's resolution babies are a perfect example of that, because if you do not write down what your goal is or your resolution, chances of you sticking to it are slim to none. So a lot of people who try to get in shape, and their thing is they say they want to get in shape, and they don't like going to the gym, they don't like exercising. What do? They get a membership at the gym in January. What's the busiest time to be in a gym? And then what happens in February? You can throw a dart and not hit anybody. So they go in the busiest time, and then they end up stopping. So you have to have a plan, you have to write it down. Like if you don't do it, if you don't have a plan, you don't write it down, you have nothing to check back on. And I'm going to give you guys some simple cues, simple tips that you can use so that you can start your transformation today. So if you had health and fitness resolutions, you can definitely overcome them. Deal? Do we all understand each other? All right. I'll give you a little bit about my background. I'm from Toronto. I was always active as a kid, played a lot of different sports. Didn't have a lot of money. A lot of the sports were just playing outside and doing things and trying different sports, learning different sports. From an early age, I had a dream of playing professional hockey at first. Yes, I was a goalie, believe it or not. And then that changed to football. I always wrote down what I wanted to do, what I wanted to accomplish from season to season, from sport to sport. I always stayed disciplined, and thank God I was active because my diet was horrendous. Lots of fast food. There was McDonald's. Before there was poutine, there were heavies. Those are fries with gravy and stuff, and we ate that kind of stuff all the time. Our energy drinks were Slurpees generally, or pop. Lots of, Coke and Pepsi and 7-Up, Sprite, you name it, we consumed it. But I was always active and I never stopped, thankfully. Through high school, through university, I started focusing more on football because that's what I wanted to do. I ended up getting drafted by the BC Lions in 1994, so I reached my ultimate dream. I played for 11 years in the Canadian Football League. The last year that I played was 2003, and it was a very pivotal year and very destructive year, both on and off the field. I went through a lot of injuries. I was in and out of a bad relationship, which was a combination of fire mixed with gasoline, mixed with firecrackers, and a few sticks of dynamite. Oh, you guys have been in one of those too, huh? So it was a tough place for me because of where I was. This was my 11th year in the league, and then battling injuries and then contract issues. I was going at all the things, all the good habits I built up growing up, I started turning away from. I went out a lot more, I was partying more, didn't really care what I was doing, and really it came down to I didn't know what I was going to do when I was done. When you're playing football, you're kind of year to year. When you're playing any pro sport, not very many contracts are guaranteed. You hear about the guaranteed ones, but 95% of the players in the league do not have guaranteed contracts. So you're basically year to year. And it was coming up to a time when I didn't really know what I was going to do. So there was a lot of things going on, again, both personally, professionally, and that's like life. I tell people life happens sometimes. Nothing is ever going to go in a straight line like this. It's going to go up and down, up and down. The thing that kind of helped me is I was always active. I loved fitness. I was training people over the years. So as I started working with people, talking with people, and getting real with myself, I figured out fitness was going to be the direction that I was going to go into. So for me, fitness was my goal, my direction, and it was time to set a new plan, write down new goals of what I wanted to do. And as fitness played a bigger part in my life, more things started to happen. Things like the television shows, The Last 10 Pounds and Bulging Brides. Also, I am an actor and a stunt performer in Vancouver, speaker, so a lot of things started happening, and fitness for me was the catalyst for it. So I know what it takes to go through tough times and periods of uncertainty, and you will get out of it if you keep on moving forward. There's two things you can do. You have two choices. You can either go forward or you can feel sorry for yourself. If you feel sorry for yourself, there's going to be a lot of people that will be there to join you and drag you down even lower. If you set goals for yourself, and yes, you will take some risks because there are going to be some unknowns, but if you go after what you want, ultimately you're going to either get what you want or something even better along the way. And it's just a matter of setting your mind right and pushing yourself forward. So I'm going to share over that time, I created my Shred training philosophy, and I'm going to share some things with you that will definitely help you in whatever your goals are going to be, whether they're personal, whether they're fitness. We're getting into a season right now. It's finally spring, going into summer. So I know, ladies, you guys are all getting ready to put on your bikinis and you want to look great. And how many people are going to weddings in the next 6 months? It's wedding season, so you're going to see a lot of that stuff going on. So ultimately, you have to get started in doing whatever you want to do. So I need everybody to stand up for a second. Turn to the person beside you. Let that person know one excuse that you've made in the last 3 months.
So what was your excuse?
That I just have to run my kids around everywhere.
I said one excuse. One excuse. Come on, you guys can sit down now. So you guys all have that down? Now, for those of you who follow me on Facebook or Twitter, you'll hear the word SHRED a lot. SHRED is my training philosophy. SHRED is an acronym for strength, heart, resilience, efficient, and discipline. And there's going to be a quiz on that later. What's the S stand for? What's the H? R? E? You kids are like, Mommy. D? All right. So, getting with strength. I'm going to talk about strength right now because, strength is measured in many ways. It's not always just physical strength. And when it comes to reaching your goals or going after whatever your dreams are, you are going to need some strength. So again, I'm going to need everybody to stand up. If you're injured in any way, you can sit down, or if you're wearing heels, you can sit down. I can see. Okay, I want you to lift one leg up and close your eyes. Now open them and say sorry to the person who's totally just mashed. So, we're going to do it again, but before you lift that leg, here's what I want you to do. I want you to engage your core. I want you to balance on your heel and your big toe and your pinky toe. So your foot will be kind of like a talon. And I want you to see yourself standing nice, still, and straight. Now, slowly, I want you to lift your leg up and close your eyes. And back down. Which one is easier, the first time or the second time? Okay, have a seat. Why was it easier the second time? What did you do the second time that was different from the first time? You focused, you had some cues from me to engage your core, you visualized, you saw yourself standing at attention, nice and tall, with balance, so you're stronger, and ultimately, what did you do first? You set your mind mentally. So when I talk about strength, mental strength is very, very important. And that's what it takes to reach your goal. Like I said, I've worked with people that have lost hundreds of pounds. I've worked with people who had a very tough time losing 5 to 10 pounds. And ultimately, it comes down to the mental part of it. If you're mentally strong, nothing will shake you, nothing will faze you. You'll go through bad periods, it won't matter because you have your master goal at hand. I told you guys at the beginning, if you write down your goal and take a year-long goal, whether it's weight, whether it's going to or completing an event like a marathon, Ironman, going to a wedding, whatever the event is, that's your master goal. And then have little goals along the way that are going to push you towards that master goal. Then you're going to be mentally strong, so when something happens, you're set. Nothing can really faze you. I told a lot of people from a very early age that I was going to play professional football, as early as high school. Do you think everybody said, yeah, you are? No. I'd say it's probably about 50-50. But mentally, I was already there. When I got drafted by the BC Lions, and as a rookie, when you get drafted to a team, chances of rookies making the team are slim to none. I went out to Vancouver with all my stuff. So when the vets saw me with all this stuff, they're kind of looking at me and they're kind of chuckling like, is this rookie crazy? Because most times when you travel, you have one bag. Because you can get in and get out really, really fast. But in my mind, I was making that team. That's what you have to be. You have to be mentally strong. And you have to see yourself succeeding and completing and reaching that goal, whatever it is, before it happens. Then all you got to do is follow the plan. And I guarantee you will make it there. So, you heard me say I played for the BC Lions, and luckily enough, I was able to be part of a Grey Cup winning team in 1994. During the season, we had a so-so year. We had lots of talent, but we weren't playing as a team. And I can remember one game in particular, we were playing Saskatchewan, and yeah, I know. Tigers! Right? Okay. Okay. That was right on cue too. We're playing the Riders, and they're kicking our butts, and we're not a good team. After the game, we're fighting in the stands with some of the fans. Not all of us, but a few players ran up in the stands. And we're in the locker room after, and we're fighting, and all hell is breaking loose, and then somebody's breaking to the front of the pile, and it's like, fight me, fight me. It was Louis Pasaglia. He was in his 40s at that point in time, but he challenged us. He challenged us to play with heart, because we were not playing with heart. When you see any successful team, individual, person, whatever the case may be, they put their heart into it, and heart is something that cannot be measured. And putting your heart into it means you're going all in. So if you do have a fitness goal, if you do have a weight goal, and when I was doing the last 10 pounds boot camp, and would raid their cupboards and fridge and stuff, be like, okay, this is what you're gonna do, and you got 4 weeks to do it. And then it'd be like, does that mean I can't drink? Does that mean I can't eat this, that, or the other? Is that going all in? No. So if you have your goal, you must go all in. If you go all in, you will be successful, because now something is at risk. And you can't be afraid of failing, because many times, many people who are successful have failed multiple times. They just keep on going, and they have their heart in it. And that can't be measured against anybody. What's the R stand for? Resilience. Oh, you're good. Nice. So resilience is important to win in any single battle, because 9 times out of 10 you're going to have to work harder than the next person. If you guys are all going towards the same goal, you have to work harder. Look at a hockey game, or a basketball game, or a football game. At the end of the game, if it's a tight game and somebody wins 2-1, the losing team it's usually something like this. Well, we played really well, we did this, we did that, but we only played for 58 minutes. The other team played for 60. Resilience means you have to outlast the other person. So it's going to make you stand up to any type of adversity. There was somebody I worked with on the last 10 pounds boot camp. Her name was Sophia. She ended up losing at the end of it 22 pounds. Now Sophia, she was a cancer survivor. She didn't beat cancer once or twice. She beat it 7 times. And as I got to work with her, her resilience was unbelievable, like unbelievable. You couldn't count this one out at all. There was times I was training her in the gym, and I knew I was killing her, and she had that face on, that game. I call it the game face. I'm like, you good? I'm good. And the gym that I trained her in, there was a bunch of pillars going down, but there were mirrors all the way. I say, okay, go take a walk to the end. So as she's walking, I'm looking at her in the mirror, and she get around to one of the pillars, and then kind of figure she was out of the way, and then you're like, and just come back up, turn around. I'm like, you ready? Let's go, come on, let's go. And that's how she was. The resilience that she showed was unbelievable. So if you want to reach your goal, regardless of what it is, you have to be resilient in what you're doing. You have to. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you're not resilient, you're not going to last. Somebody will outwork you. Somebody will want it more than you. And all these things work in conjunction. Strength, heart, resilience. What's the next one? Efficient. So let's talk about fitness. Okay, I want everybody to stand up. So I want you to jog on the spot. See, and those of you who do my boot camp this afternoon, this will be good for you. Nice little warm up. And there still are spots left for the boot camp. So now I want you to run more intensely. Get the knees up. Oh, we've got a stampede right here. Back to a jog. Now stop. Have a seat. With your chairs there. So you jog and you do the high knee run. Which one made you work harder? The high knee run. So basically I made you just do an interval. What do you think is the most efficient way for cardiovascular speaking, way for you to improve your cardiovascular fitness? Adding intervals. Now steady state will get you there too, but it's just going to take a lot longer. I know there's a lot of runners, a lot of joggers, a lot of distance type people. If you don't have a lot of time, and we talked about that right off the beginning, then you need to add intervals into what you're doing. Because you need to be doing cardiovascular activity somewhere between 2 and 5 days per week. And it could be as little as 15 minutes. If you're doing intervals, you will not be going anything more than 45 minutes, guaranteed. Your body just won't let you do it because you're working to the max, bringing it down. For those of you that don't know what interval training is, it's working at a high intensity followed by a period of a lower intensity. So something like a jog for 30 seconds, high knee for 30 seconds. That's one interval. Add somewhere between 6 and 10 intervals into your workout, and it could be skipping, it could be running, it could be swimming, anything you want to do. On the elliptical, spinning, you could be doing something like Tabata, which is a 4-minute interval set, which is 20 seconds of work and 10 seconds of rest. 8 sets of that. You'll add a lot of intensity to your workout, and you'll lose a lot more inches and pounds as a result of it. Now, when it comes to resistance training, we talked about this earlier. Do you need to be in a gym? Do you need to use expensive equipment? Can you get a good workout just by your body weight? And anyone who's doing the boot camp is going to find out just how this afternoon. It's going to be all body weight. Tons of different ways to train, tons of different ways that you can do it. Ideally, you should be doing some type of resistance training somewhere between 2 to 4 days per week. 3 days is usually the minimum if you want to make improvements. And that means you could be doing 6 to 10 exercises and do it in a circuit style. Stay off of the machines if you are a gym person because you're not working your stabilizers or your core. And you can add tons of different tools. And every single system will be like, use this system, you can do your whole workout on this, or you can do your whole workout on that. Add as much, okay? If you guys have done any of my programs, you know there's tons of different ways that you can do things. When I see you at the end here, I'll let you know a little bit about my DVD. It's a 60-day workout program that incorporates tons of different types of training. Because ultimately, it has to be fun. It has to be fun, it has to be effective for you to continue to do it. If there's something you do not like to do, don't focus on that exercise. There are some exercises that people don't like to do, like burpees. But the burpee is the ultimate exercise. So if you just talk your mind into doing it, you will see the results. And as you get fitter, as you get stronger, as you get healthier, you're going to continue. You're going to keep on. You're going to continue to push, continue to really, make advances. So that's cardiovascular, that's resistance training, nutrition. You must have a balanced nutrition meal plan. It doesn't mean minimizing anything, and there's tons of information. I'm not a nutritionist. I know lots of nutritionists and registered dietitians. There's tons of information that's out there. See what works for you. You're hearing gluten-free right now. Gluten-free, if you don't have a gluten allergy, then it's not a big deal to you. But I guarantee that 60% of the people who are having gluten-free foods do not have gluten-free allergies. But they're doing it because that's what's being talked about the most. So if you want to get specific with your diet, go see a registered dietitian, and they can plan something out for you that's consistent for you. Recovery, also something that's not talked about very much, and that includes stuff like flexibility, yoga, meditation is huge. And 5 years ago, if you'd have told me to meditate, I would have told you to levitate. And a few of my fingers would be out right now, but I got my earmuffs going right now. Bam. But it's hugely important, as well with the breathing. That's why yoga is very important. If you guys do yoga classes, or if you haven't done one, do one and really focus on your breathing. Listen to what the instructor is saying about how to breathe properly. Breathing in through the nose. Everyone knows how to breathe in, but people don't know when you're breathing out, you let it all out. And the last little bit, you're going to have to force it out. It lets everything out. And if any smokers do that right now, know that you smoke, because it's going to push all that smoke out of your lungs. Right? So those things are very, very important, and you have to have an overall rounded approach. The last thing I'm going to tell you about is discipline, because discipline puts all the pieces of the puzzle together. Without discipline, you have nothing. Discipline means making the right choices. And when I say about going after your goals, especially when it comes to fitness, it doesn't mean you have to sacrifice and live miserably. I'll drink beer every once in a while, I'll have wine every once in a while, I'll have dessert. They talked me, I went to Earl's last night, they talked me into having one of these double fudge sundae things. And, you know, but I felt like having it, so I did. And when it comes to something like that, if you're doing things right 80% of the time, what's your success level going to be like? Pretty good. Anybody here get 80s in school? I didn't. But anyone who got 80s or above in school, they did pretty good, didn't they? That's what it takes for you guys to be successful. Doing the right things 80% of the time. Now, when you're going, when you have to be a bit more specific to something, and you're working within time frames and goals, yeah, you may have to be 90-10. 10% being the things that you're not supposed to do. But ultimately, if you're staying active and doing the things that you want to do, you will be successful.